Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we got the next Bad Batch discussion. This is episode 8, so we are at the halfway point. Let's see. Last episode, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little overview here. Last episode, we ended with the clones on Brekka, which is the planet from Jedi Fallen Order. And at the very end of it, Rex left the group, and we saw that there were some like security people from Brekka that noticed the clones, and then they notified the Empire that they were there. So now we pick it up, and the Empire is informed, and the Empire is going to send Crosshair and his group out to Brekka to try to take out the clones. They don't want them alive, they want them dead. But we also figure out that the Kaminoans, if I'm saying that correctly, they have a little agenda of their own. They are sending out a bounty hunter to pick up
Omega.
Well, they are going to pick up Omega, but I feel like the way that they're talking, it's the secret project that they've been talking about in the past. It makes me believe that Omega is that project, but moving along, so we know that the Empire is going to find the clones just to basically take them out, and we know the Kaminoans are sending a bounty hunter to go and find Omega. So the clones are kind of figuring out their way on Brekka. They're still kind of a what do we do situation, and they are not aware that any of these people are coming. So they start going through one of the old Venators, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, and that's the big Republic star cruiser that is down on the planet, because there's a whole bunch of them. They decided to go through one of them and like turn the power on and try to figure out old systems, what they could salvage and whatnot.
They were finding things to sell for money.
Yeah. And eventually we have a scene where Tech and Omega are in on the bridge of one of them, and they're having a cute little back and forth there. Omega wants to know what the war was like, and Tech is kind of well, he's very techy. He's just kind of gives her the definition answer to all the questions that she's asking, and not actually giving her insight of what the war was like. But in the midst of that, there's this little red light that starts flashing, and that turns out to be that is the incoming ship sensor, so to speak. I think they called it the proximity sensor, that something's coming in, and we see the Empire fly above. There's like 3 or 4 ships, I think, that came across the top of where Tech and Omega were. And so they land. We find out that, it is Crosshair, and he's got his group, and they want to go in and snuff out the clones and take them out. So we have quite a bit of back and forth with the clones, our Bad Batch clones, I should say, trying to sneak around the Empire, and then the Empire is trying to find them. But eventually they do meet up together, and they're in this area that Tech notices that if they fire off one of the cannons from the ship, that it would essentially break the flooring so that they would all fall through, because eventually Hunter got surrounded by Crosshair with Omega. And the Tech ends up going through and firing off the cannon. Stuff breaks around all around them, and they fall through, and they're kind of on the run again, and they decide, well, maybe we can escape through the engine. And so the Bad Batch tries to escape through the engine, and when they get to the very tip of getting out of the engine, a sniper bolt comes in and almost hits Hunter, and we find out that Crosshair and his group had gotten out as well and lined themselves up so that they would be prepared for them at the engine. And as they're sitting there, the Bad Batch, they're trying to think about getting out of the engine. Crosshair's group is turning on the engines, because while we were getting the generators and everything going, well, the engines work too. So the Bad Batch had to think quick, and they set up bombs, mines all across the engine where they were and set them off. That way it would detach from the ship and they could kind of fall down before the engine burnt them to a crisp. Crosshair's plan kind of backfires because once that piece falls, the engine blows through and ends up hitting him a little bit. It doesn't kill him, but he gets hurt quite a bit from it. Then the group gets separated a little bit. The Bad Batch group does. Hunter and Omega take off to go to their ship. And when they get to their ship, we get to find out who this bounty hunter is that the Kaminoans sent off to find Omega. And this show is written by Dave Filoni, so who other than Cad Bane shows up. He was from the Clone Wars, and now he is here in the Bad Batch once again. Looks a little bit older, as he should, and he's got his little droid companion, just like from the Clone Wars. Funny little guy there. But eventually, Cad Bane and Hunter have this little Wild West face-off where they try to see who has the quicker draw, and we actually see Hunter lose. Cad Bane hits him, and Hunter's down for the count. I almost thought he was dead, but then Cad Bane goes up to Omega and zaps her, and she is now unconscious, kind of like Leia from A New Hope. His blaster was set to stun. So he takes her away, and we're assuming that they're going back to Kamino because, you know, that's where the bounty was assigned. And then Hunter wakes up because the clones or the rest of the Bad Batch eventually catch up to him, and he's saying, "Hey, we got to go get her." And after we realize that, Crosshair, we see him all bandaged up and stuff, and he's told that their ship is getting ready to launch, and he just like perks right up and says, "Well, we got to go get them," kind of a thing. So last week we had quite the cliffhanger with the Empire is coming. Now we have another cliffhanger that's really good because we get to see, you know, if Cad Bane follows through and takes Omega to the Kaminoans as he's supposed to. I kind of wonder if he might get paid more money to take her to the Empire. That might be a potential thing to happen. But we also have Crosshair still on the tracks of the Bad Batch, so we have that to look forward to as well. So, moving on to our favorite parts. Sarah, what was your favorite part from the episode?
It's kind of hard to decide. I really like the cute, funny moments that they keep throwing in, like when Omega was asking about the war. But I think even more than that for this episode, I'd have to say my favorite part was at the end when we have that face-off between Hunter and I think you said the other guy's name was Bane.
Cad Bane.
Yep. Cad Bane. And I liked that scene simply because Hunter lost, and I really don't like seeing our team like that we're rooting for lose. But I felt like things had been going pretty easy for them so far. So to see something finally go wrong, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they have to react to that and how they're going to find her because they don't know who this bounty hunter is or where he's come from or who hired him or anything. So I think I'd have to say that that's my favorite part. What about you?
I thought, before I get to mine, I thought you were going to say all the little like random tidbits that Wrecker had. Like they're all moving along and then Wrecker's off in the distance and he just like runs into a wall, or there was like a section of the ship where they had to slide down and all the clones made it down nice and clean, and here comes Wrecker, and he smashes into the wall because he's got all these funny little antics. Oh, one thing I forgot from the episode was that because it might be important later on, but Wrecker was teaching Omega how to disarm a bomb. So yep. That was happening in the beginning too. So that might come up later on. So I figured I should mention it here.
I did like that he tricked her and made her think that she was disarming a real bomb, and really it was just a smoke bomb. So there was no real danger.
Yeah, that was really good. I was kind of wondering because he was like, hit the deck. And I was like, was it real? Because I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have given her like a live bomb to test out. But yeah, my favorite part, coincidentally, is the same one. We didn't discuss our favorite parts before doing this, but I, to kind of branch off of what Sarah said, what I really liked about it was that it shocked me. Um,
Yeah.
to a point, I was like, Cad Bane has been like he's a famous bounty hunter. He's kind of like the Boba Fett of the Clone Wars, and knowing that Hunter is part of the Bad Batch, and he has enhanced skills, maybe there was a chance that he would have beat Cad Bane, but I think they kind of kept Cad Bane's credibility in mind of being like this really good bounty hunter, and that he actually was the one that shot first. It was also interesting because I don't know if Wrecker just had, or not Wrecker, if Hunter had a bad aim or not, or if it was due to the fact that he got hit and then his shot went wide, but he wasn't even close to hitting Cad Bane. He actually ended up hitting the droid beside him. So I really liked how it was different and it was unexpected in a way. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of it. It's starting to subvert the expectations. It's not just a kid show where the good guys always win. It's Star Wars. So yeah, that was my favorite part. They were very similar to Sarah and I's favorite parts, but I think we had a little bit to add to it for the both of us. So
I
yeah,
like the Western feel too, and of course the robot droid, his companion, that was cute.
yeah, like
To say, "You're in trouble now," or something like that.
they always say, well, and I should say it is. Star Wars was made to be a space western, and so it really, like, The Mandalorian has made it itself feel like a space western in its own way. Now here we get a little taste of, here's space western with that little duel, like the whole way that it was set up. I mean, it didn't have a town and tumbleweeds going through everywhere, but it did have almost like a little whistle type feel to it, like when you have the and then they get their guns ready, and you have that
He had the outfit. He had the little piece of straw hanging out of his mouth.
yeah.
I don't know that character. I haven't seen the Clone Wars, so I don't know if that's what he always looks like. But
He always has the hat, and it's kind of off track, but it's kind of funny because Dave Filoni, who made the Clone Wars, is known for wearing a cowboy hat, and I kind of wonder if that's like his little connection to Cad Bane. But maybe you need to catch up and watch the Clone Wars so you can see a little bit more about Cad Bane.
I got homework.
Yeah, you got homework. You got 7 seasons worth of homework. All right, so that is our discussion for episode 8. Again, this is the halfway point. Still really have no idea where the finale will be going, but we look forward to it every week, and I'm really hoping we get a good one. I think it's primed up for it. If you haven't already, please turn on notifications. That way you are notified when the next Bad Batch episode discussion drops. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, drop us a like if you like this video, and drop us a comment letting us know your thoughts about this episode. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.